welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 13-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could take 1 second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload, that would be greatly appreciated. Put a lot of hard work, time, and effort into these videos, and I'll be here all MLB season long breaking down these MLB DFS slates to help you guys become better MLB DFS players and to help you win money night in and night out. All that I ask in return is if you could hit that subscribe button. It helps me out greatly. Hit the thumbs up, helps me with the YouTube algorithm, all that fun stuff. And if you are interested in some further content from me, getting really serious about MLB DFS, I do offer premium content that's linked below in the description. You get access to all of the good tools that I use when building my own lineups. I've been able to take down a few tournaments this year, and I think it's going to be helpful, insightful tools for you. So check that out, linked down below in the description. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. So, as always, we're going to break down the pitchers we really want to play on the slate, and then we'll get into bats. And we like to sort our sheet by K-rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Max Scherzer taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. 34.1% K-rate overall, a 15.8 swinging strike rate, a 37.5% K-rate against righties, and then a 30.6% K-rate against lefties. Been doing it for a long time now. 264 innings pitch sample size over the last 2 years and still dealing out there. Max Scherzer comes in as a 137 favorite right now, priced up at $12K on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they're going to price at $10.9. And he's taking on a Toronto Blue Jays team, which isn't exactly the top matchup that we're looking to target. But when you're looking at his pitch count the last 2 games, he's gone 109, 106. They're really letting him pitch a lot out there, and he's put up 10 and 9 Ks. No earned runs. So Max Scherzer still getting the job done, has a 1.8 ERA, 0.72 whip, all of that fun stuff. And definitely a viable option. The only problem or thing against him is that Lucas Giolito, this guy right here, right below him, has a similar strikeout rate, and he's taking on the Detroit Tigers, a much better matchup. He has a 32.7% K rate overall, a 15.7 swinging strike rate, a 32.6% K rate against righties, and then a 32.8% K rate against lefties. Gets the job done across the board and is taking on a Detroit team today that strikes out a ton, and he comes in as a pretty hefty favorite. So weighing in all of these things, that's all the good stuff you're looking for. He has a good opportunity to get the win in this one. He has a good opportunity to strike out a lot of guys. And, just have a good game overall. So 10-6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they got him priced at $9.5. And he has been dealing all season long for the most part as well. Last time getting blown up by the Boston Red Sox, giving up 7 earned. But if you look at the games before that, 8 Ks, 10 Ks, 8 Ks. Only giving up 3, 2, and 0 earned runs. And also getting a pretty decent pitch count. Last time he only threw 54 pitches, but he just didn't have his best stuff. He got blown up and got taken out of the game. Should be well rested for this one. Good to go, and he threw 107 the game before. So I definitely like Lucas Giolito as probably my top arm on the slate today. I'll have to dig into the numbers a little bit more and everything, but great option. You got Walker Buehler taking on Cincinnati. Not exactly the best matchup as far as their ability to slug and everything, but they do have their fair share of strikeouts in their lineup at times. A 28.4% K rate overall, a 28.2% K rate against righties, and then a 28.5% K rate against lefties. Probably a good tournament option. I am sure that a lot of people are going to be going to Lucas Giolito for all the reasons that I just mentioned. So I do think that Walker Buehler is a good tournament option taking on the Cincinnati Reds. He comes in as a 234 favorite. There should be, like I said, a decent amount of strikeouts in this lineup, and he's definitely a viable option for you in tournaments today. Ian Anderson taking on the Chicago Cubs, a team that's been striking out a bunch, has a 27.6% K rate overall, a great ground ball, fly ball rate, has a little bit of a walk issue, but a 23.1% K rate against righties, and then a 33.3% K rate against lefties. Really excels at striking out left-handed bats, so we don't mind seeing him face quite a few lefties if that's the case. And when looking at who he's taking on today, in the Chicago Cubs, they have their fair share of lefties in the lineup. They got Jason Hayward, Ian Happ, Anthony Rizzo, but they also have their fair share of righties and their fair share of strikeouts, as mentioned. So I think that Ian Anderson's a pretty good option. Priced at 8.4 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they got him priced at 8.6. So, more of a mid-tier option there. And then you got Christian Javier taking on the Seattle Mariners. Another great matchup. Plenty of strikeouts. Like, this slate provides us a lot of really good matchups for guys with talent in both bats and pitchers. So, as we're going along here, going to be plenty of options that you can play in your lineups with the salary and feel pretty confident. 27.5% K rate overall. The ground ball and the fly ball stuff isn't the best, but he has a 33.9% K rate against righties. 22.3% K rate against lefties. Not quite as good against those lefties, but the Seattle Mariners do have a very right-handed heavy lineup, and they do strike out a bunch. So I think this is a great opportunity for Christian Javier today. Mitch Haniger, Ty France, Kyle Lewis, Evan White, Tom Murphy. All those guys expected to be in the lineup. All of them strike out quite a bit, and all hit from the right-handed side of the plate. And Christian Javier is a 193 favorite, so another option for you to be looking at. And then things drop off a little bit. Honestly, all those guys are just in great spots that we've gone over so far. They're top K leaders on the slate. They're taking on teams that are striking out a lot. Chris Paddock taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, they don't scare me either. You definitely like him. You could play Frankie Montas taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. They have their fair share of strikeouts as well. And then once you get down past that, it's kind of tough. You can play Adrian Hauser taking on the Miami Marlins. Corey Kluber taking on the Baltimore Orioles. They have a lot of strikeouts in their bat. Jose Quintana taking on the Texas Rangers. They have a lot of strikeouts in their bats. And I would say that's kind of where my cutoff is today. I'm not really looking at anyone else. Going down the list, really not interested in playing any of those guys. So, Chris Paddock taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Interesting options. 25.5% K rate overall, 29.8% K rate against righties, a 21.7% K rate against lefties. You got Frankie Montas as well taking on those Rays. Not exactly the best matchup as far as, they can slug, but interesting options to be exploring for sure. And when we're breaking down the Vegas lines, Corey Kluber taking on the Baltimore Orioles. He comes in as a 187 favorite if you want to go to him against those Orioles. Frankie Montas taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. There's no lines out for that one yet. Adrian Hauser is a 164 favorite taking on those Miami Marlins if you went there. Jose Quintana, there's no line out for that yet. And yeah, that's pretty much everyone that I'd be looking to. Chris Paddock's a 167 favorite taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks, so he's also a pretty hefty favorite. Expected to go out there and get the win as well. And that's kind of my cutoff on pitching. Those are the guys that I would be looking to. Plenty of options to go to fit in the bats. And with that being said, let's transition over to bats. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by skill, interactive ERA, Sierra, figure out the worst pitchers on the slate that we can really target. And the worst on the slate is going to be Daniel Castano taking on these Milwaukee Brewers. Doesn't strike anyone out, has an 8.4% K rate. I don't know if I've ever seen a K rate that bad. That is really bad. So I don't even know what to say about that. The Milwaukee Brewers are a team that strikes out quite a bit, but when you're factoring that this guy really can't strike anyone out, he gives up a 358 slugging to righties, a 463 slugging to lefties. And the numbers aren't terrible as far as the hard contact and all that stuff, but I think his Sierra is so terrible because he just doesn't strike anyone out. He doesn't have the ability to put anyone away. So for that reason, you can definitely be playing some of these power bats for these Milwaukee Brewers today. I would really like the 2 through 5 range. Tyrone Taylor, Avisail Garcia, Manny Pena, and Keston Hiura. Then you play Luis Urias, Colton Wong, Billy McKinney to round out your stacks. But, being that it's a left-handed pitcher and everything, I like the platoon split advantage for those right-handed bats on this one if I'm going to that stack. Second on the list, we can target Chichi Gonzalez. He's a guy that I typically talk, very low, not so good about as far as his talents. And he's a guy that doesn't strike anyone out, and he has a 16.2% K rate. So that's kind of why I was laughing when I saw Daniel Castano. I was like, I didn't think I could get worse than Chichi Gonzalez. But Chichi Gonzalez is a guy we can always target. He gives up a lot of hard contact. He has a 418 slugging given up to righties, a 466 slugging given up to lefties. Doesn't strike anyone out. And he's taking on the San Francisco Giants team tonight, who has a pretty decent lineup up and down, and some guys that can definitely slug from the left-handed side of the plate. Guys like Tommy Lasella, Alex Dickerson, Brandon Belt, and then Evan Longoria, Buster Posey, also great hitters. And you got Crawford, Slater, and Dubon to round out the bottom of the order. They have a 4.48 implied run total. In San Francisco, not the best hitting environment, but Chichi Gonzalez is terrible. The Colorado Rockies bullpen is terrible, and I definitely could have some interest in these Giants tonight. Aaron Sanchez in that same game taking on the Colorado Rockies. I'm not going to really have a lot of interest in the Colorado Rockies. If you are targeting Aaron Sanchez, you really want to target him with those left-handed bats. However, he gives up a 42 slugging, a 37.7% hard hit rate. Really struggles against left-handed bats. And when looking at the Colorado Rockies lineup, you do have a few lefties in there with guys like Tapia, Ryan McMahon, Charlie Blackmon, and Dom Nunez. But they're terrible on the road. They really don't have a lot of power, and it's not really a stack that I'm looking to go to. It is definitely a possibility if you play them. I don't think you're crazy, but not going to be a top priority for me today. Next on the list, we got Jose Urana taking on the Chicago White Sox. We had talked about the pitching for the White Sox. I also think the bats are going to be very viable. Jose Urana has been really bad in the later half of his career here. 343 slugging given up to righties. Not the worst in the world. Still gives up quite a bit of hard contact, though. A 37.4% hard contact rate. And then looking at how he does against lefties, that's when things get really, really bad. A 560 slugging, a 41.2% hard hit rate, a 398 WOBA. Really, really bad against those left-handed bats. And the Chicago White Sox lefties are definitely going to be great plays today. Adam Eaton, Yoan Moncada, Yasmani Grandal. Play all of them. And then, like I said, it's not like he's that much better against righties. So Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, Yerman Mercedes, Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn. All those guys, no issues with going to them in your stacks either. I think that the Chicago White Sox are a great option today. They have a 4.7 implied run total. Expected to put up quite a few runs, and we are not scared of that Detroit bullpen either. Garrett Richards taking on the New York Mets. He's been terrible all season long. A 20.5% K rate, really bad across the board. A 435 slugging up to righties and a 452 slugging given up to lefties. Has been really underwhelming, and he has to take on a New York Mets team tonight in Citi Field. So a 4.61 implied run total for these New York Mets tonight. And a great lineup up and down that we can definitely target Garrett Richards with. Not the best hitting environment here, but with a 4.61 implied run total and with Garrett Richards on the bump, I am not scared at all. Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor, Dom Smith, Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, J.D. Davis, Jeff McNeil, James McCann. Have no issues with you playing any of these guys tonight. Favorites would have to be in the core of the order, as always, 2, 3, 4. But that's kind of flexible because the whole lineup's really in a great spot here. So I like that stack, and the whole lineup can hit. Corey Kluber taking on the Baltimore Orioles. You could target. He hasn't been really the best. I would lean towards not doing it, but I don't know. The ground ball and the fly ball stuff against the lefties has been really, really bad. He does give up a lot of hard contact. You can make a big argument for those left-handed bats for sure, actually. With a 460 slugging, ground ball, fly ball rate being terrible, a 354 WOBA. You can stack up against Kluber regardless. He hasn't really been the greatest. The Orioles only have a 4.02 implied run total, but they are in Baltimore. It's a great hitting environment. So it looks like it's going to be about 78 degrees, wind blowing out a little bit, 6 miles an hour. Starting to get some pretty decent hitting weather finally here, a few of these games. So I do think that they are a viable play. Cedric Mullins, DJ Stewart, Rio Ruiz, those lefties, Freddie Galvis, Francisco, and then the righties to round it out, Trey Mancini, Maikel Franco, Austin Hayes. They're some of the best hitters in the lineup, so I like them. And you could definitely target the Yankees in the same game as well, which we will get to, but lots of options, guys. Trevor Williams taking on the Atlanta Braves. Really bad across the board. Gives up a lot of hard contact to righties, a 514 slugging. Against lefties, it's a 498 slugging. Can definitely target him with that Atlanta Braves lineup. They have a very talented lineup up and down. They have a 4.78 implied run total. Ronald Acuna, Freddie Freeman, Marcell Ozuna, Ozzie Albies, like all them. Jeff Hoffman taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers has just been terrible. Like, the hard contact rate's terrible. The walk rate's terrible. The ground ball, the fly ball. Against righties specifically, he is dreadful. A 662 slugging, giving up a 45.2% hard hit rate, a 425 WOBA. Not good. And then against lefties, it's not like it gets much better. A 454 slugging overall, 343 WOBA against lefties. Not good. But specifically against righties, this guy has just been absolutely terrible, and that's going to make Mookie Betts one of the top plays on the slate for me tonight. Love Mookie Betts, Justin Turner, Will Smith, Chris Taylor, and then, of course, the lefties can rake as well. We're not worried about not playing them just because he's a little bit better against lefties. Corey Seager, Max Muncy, Luke Raley, Gavin Lux at the bottom of the order as well. Really got to like these Dodgers bats tonight. And yeah, the guy's just been terrible. Trent Thornton taking on Washington, really bad across the board as well. He gets a 431 slugging to righties, a 454 slugging to lefties. You can be definitely looking to some Washington bats tonight if you'd like to go to that stack. Looking at what they are going to provide for us for a lineup tonight. It is in Toronto, but they have plenty of power. Trey Turner, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber. Middle of the order, even guys like Alex Avila, Victor Robles has some power and speed. Andrew Stevenson has some power at the bottom of the order. So Washington could be a sneaky stack for you tonight. And yeah, we could go on and on here, but I'm trying to kind of narrow it down here. So we'll look at some splits here to round things out before we get into the home run call of the day. Oakland taking on Michael Wacha. He's given up a lot of hard contact because he's been really bad, and he's really bad against right-handed bats specifically. A 563 slugging, giving up a 42.4% hard hit rate, a 384 WOBA. Really bad against right-handed bats. And the Oakland Athletics do have quite a bit of righties. Mark Canha, Ramon Laureano, Matt Chapman, and then their lefties can rake as well. Jed Lowry, Matt Olson, Mitch Moreland, and they got Sean Murphy and Elvis Andrews to the bottom of the order. I think they're an intriguing stack taking on Wacha, who doesn't scare me. The only issue is the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen is typically pretty good. They go to them pretty early. But so far in the season, they've been faced with some injuries, and they've been pretty bad. So I think we might be able to kind of overwrite that with this Rays bullpen so far. So they're facing some injuries. Their numbers have actually been really bad in the bullpen. That might be something that a lot of people don't know. And I definitely think that the Oakland Athletics are an interesting stack. And then, yeah, like I said, Zach Eflin against lefties is really bad, so I want to highlight that. Taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. He's always been a thing. Really terrible against lefties. A 518 slugging, 358 WOBA. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible. So taking on the St. Louis Cardinals team today, who do have some lefties that can hit pretty well. It looks like there's 12 mile-an-hour winds blowing out in St. Louis. Tommy Edman, Dylan Carlson, Justin Williams. I mean, the top two guys at the top of the order are going to be the most intriguing options for me. Definitely viable plays. And you got Bruce Zimmerman taking on the New York Yankees. Gives up a lot of slugging to right-handed bats. A 513 slugging, ground ball, fly ball, WOBA, all that stuff is bad. Good against lefties. He's a left-handed hurler himself, but against those right-handed bats, he's really bad. And the Yankees do have quite a bit of righties in their lineup. Guys like DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, Gio Urshela, Aaron Hicks, Gary Sanchez, Clint Frazier. Their whole entire lineup is right-handed, except for Rougned Odor at the bottom. I mean, Aaron Hicks is a switch hitter, but he will be hitting from the right-handed side of the plate, so same rule applies to him. They're definitely an intriguing stack today. Baltimore bullpen, not the greatest. And yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about all those options we went over today. The last guys I got to talk about right here. So Mikey Fultonavich and Merrill Kelly. Got to target these guys. If you look at the hard contact rate, they're the worst on the slate. Bottom two guys at hard contact rate given up. Against righties, they're both pretty equivalently bad. Against lefties, they're both bad as well. Mike Fultonavich is even worse. Merrill Kelly just taking on a really good lineup in the San Diego Padres. Really gives up a lot of slugging the right-handed hitting. And the San Diego Padres do have some guys that you might have heard about that hit very well from the right-handed side of the plate, named Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado. They got Will Myers, Eric Hosmer, Trent Grisham, Jake Cronenworth. Like, great stack today for sure. And the Angels, once again, in a great spot, taking on Fultonavich. Really bad, especially against lefties. A 506 slugging, ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible, but he's been terrible against righties as well. And the Texas bullpen isn't scary either. So the Angels are going to be a great stack today. David Fletcher, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Jared Walsh. Now they got Anthony Rendon back. That's a big deal. That's going to help their lineup quite a bit. Justin Upton, great stack. Plenty of options to go to today, guys. I think I did a pretty good job of giving you the top ones, and a lot of guys in some really good spots. So with that being said, before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Mookie Betts taking on Jeff Hoffman. I talked about his issues against right-handed hitting. Really, really bad numbers that pop off the page. A 662 slugging, 45.2% hard hit rate, a 425 WOBA. The ground ball and the fly ball stuff's terrible, and he only has a 19.1% K rate. Don't really have to worry about that with Mookie too much. A guy that doesn't really strike out. And a very good fastball hitter. Looking at what Hoffman throws on average, he throws that 93 mile-an-hour fastball 60% of the time to right-handed hitters. And Mookie Betts absolutely crushes that pitch. A 429 ISO with a 463 WOBA. Really, really bad against right-handed hitting. Really reliant on the fastball. I don't think that's going to treat him well in this matchup against Mookie Betts tonight, and Mookie Betts is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Mookie Betts, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you enjoyed the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget to check out my premium content link below in the description. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.